Hello and welcome to today's live stream. We're so excited that you joined us. Do me a favor and let me know where you're joining from. Hello and happy Friday, everybody. Welcome, and I hope you are having an awesome day. If you could, do me a favor and let me know where you're joining from. Less than a minute to go. The tension is building. We are so ready to jump into this week's news, some how-tos, and just overall photography awesomeness. I want to know about your awesomeness. I want to know about where you're joining from. So go ahead and put that in the comments below. My life is like that roller coaster, baby. No, I'm not here to recite lyrics. I am here to talk about this week's photo news. So hello, welcome. I've said it a couple times in the intro, but I'm really excited that you're here. Thank you. Thank you for joining my weekly Friday focus where I get to talk about some of the fun stuff that's going on in the photographic industry. So I want to see, first off, who is joining us and where they're joining us from. So who do we have here? We have Mike Robo. Hello from Copley, Ohio. Hello from Avon, Ohio. Hope you're doing well, man. Hello, whoever this Facebook user is, don't know who it is, but either way, hello to Chillicothe, Ohio. Then we have Grafton, Ohio in the house. Hello, whoever is from Grafton, Ohio. Oh, there we go. So I just clicked on the description. Hopefully you can see my comments now. Yes, hello, Logan. I hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for joining us and excited to work with you on some future projects. So what is the Friday Focus? If this is your first time here, first of all, like I said, welcome. But the Friday Focus is really meant to be a way to bring you up to speed on things you might have missed. So the things that happen in the photography industry usually don't show up on the evening news. So what I do every single Friday is find some of my favorite articles and bring those to you guys, what's going on, in the photographic industry. So what are my kind of goals for this? My goals are to kind of pull you away from the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt that is going on in the world around us. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. And selfishly, my goal is to bring you back to photography because it's something that we can all connect on. So even if it is for a half hour on a Friday, my hope and my goal is that I can pull you away just for a little bit. So a couple people did join us in here. Hello from sunny Portland, Oregon. I was actually just talking about you last night, Mark, told about making a trip out to the Pacific Northwest. Joey says, hello from Rochester, home of photography. Is it 18% gray there today? I'm wondering, how is it in Rochester? I love that city. It's a fun city to hang out in. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So I want to let you guys know that we do have the Talking Pixels podcast in which we talk all about taking your hobby, which is photography, to a business, to going full time. And in that podcast, we don't even talk about gear. We don't talk about sales. We don't sell you anything. We just talk about business. Myself and Justin Gamble get on there and we talk about the struggles that we've had starting our photography businesses in hopes that you can learn from those struggles or from those things that we learn, both good and bad. So you could just search anywhere for the Talking Pixels podcast and you'll be able to find that. And if you have any suggestions for that as well, we would love to hear them. So a few housekeeping notes. For some reason, our hours on Facebook got kind of wonky this morning. So if you got a bunch of notifications, I apologize for that. But we are open from 10 to 7, Monday through Friday, and then 10 to 5 on Saturday. So if you need absolutely anything from us, reach out. We're here to help. And then also, if you do come in store, we are allowing customers to come in the store. What you can expect is us cleaning things, us staying 6 feet socially distant. We've set up our store floor so that way there's like a flow of traffic. So we're doing our best to be within the guidelines and we want everybody to be comfortable. And just because we've opened doesn't mean if you don't feel comfortable going in somewhere, don't feel like you have to come in. We still have the curbside pickup as well as the online ordering as well. So it's time to get you motivated and ready to go. And let's jump into the news block. So this year, this is something that we've seen more and more of in the recent years, is when we see companies start to back out of larger shows. And having worked for, a camera company in my previous career, I totally get it. I get the fact that, there are budgets and you have to try to measure. One of the hardest things to measure your ROI on are these conferences. And although people think they are super important, you don't really know, like it doesn't directly convert to sales. So, Olympus pulling out of Photo Plus, is it a big deal? Yeah, I mean, they used to have an awesome booth there. The one I remember is the one where there was like a rock climbing wall and they actually presented like from the rock climbing wall. But I wonder if large scale conferences like this are going to start going away. Is that something that we're going to see, start to go away or dwindle? I know the ones that we work with, they're showing us numbers in which are growing and people are starting to, get more into the conferences. And I think it's a big deal that Olympus is doing this. And the little piece of news that I do think is here is what we've been seeing from Olympus recently. I've talked about it in previous episodes where, they're backing out of, whole markets, whole countries they're backing out of. They're restricting, they've seen some layoffs. So I hope it's not the beginning to the end for Olympus. I feel like they get a bad rap, having worked for Panasonic previously, micro four thirds and, this stigma that people have of smaller sensors. I feel like that's starting to affect Olympus, as that's their only real camera line. Whereas Panasonic has full frame, they're doing awesome in video. They have a lot of other kind of irons. They're amazing point and shoots, other irons in the fire, where Olympus is kind of focused on just the micro four thirds cameras. So I hope that's not the case. I hope that that's not what this is kind of foreshadowing to, but we'll just have to keep an eye on it. So it looks like we do have some people weighing in here. Trade shows are done. So the question I want to ask the Joey, do you think it's large scale trade shows are done? And do you think, more regional stuff? Do you think, just online? Do people not find value in those trade shows? I would love to hear feedback. You know, I love that Friday Focus is kind of this two-way conversation, because I think that, you know, the more conversation we have around these things, the better off the show is, actually. So if I do see your reply, I'll circle back to that. But it is interesting to see that it was Olympus that pulled out of Photo Plus. It could also be related to COVID right now. I mean, I know there are customers, and I'll talk about PhotoFest coming up, but there are vendors that, you know, just can't travel right now. I was talking to a friend and they said all travel for 2020 is cut off. So it could be that as well. You know, they don't feel comfortable that maybe they're not gonna, you know, have the show, even though Photo Plus has said, you know, they're gonna have their show this year, that, you know, maybe they just don't feel comfortable sending their employees there. So there's a lot of ways that you can read into this, but I hope it's not two things. I hope Olympus isn't going away, and for me, I hope that trade shows, you know, large ones, are not done. I hope they don't go away from those. So I did want to let people know that Nikon USA are the repair centers are starting to open again. This is something that we do get questions actually within the last, you know, 3 or 4 weeks that we've been saying, you know, they're not open. So repair centers, you know, Nikon for this example is opening up, but we're starting to see repair centers open up. So if you do have repairs that need done, please give us a call at the store and we'll let you know if it's something that we can facilitate, if our repair centers are open, or if it's something that needs done here in store. You know, we'll be able to do that. But it is kind of a big deal. I mean, we probably had 40% to 50% of the calls were related to Nikon. So just want to let everybody know that they are offering that. So this was an interesting story, and I would love to hear from people in the audience if you were affected by this. But Sony announced a service announcement, or I'm pretty sure it was a recall of these actual products, in that their tough line, their standard like SD card line, they had a lot of recalls for like lost files or corrupt cards. So I did want to put this in here as kind of a public service announcement. If you do have Sony cards, please click on this link and make sure that you are not, you know, affected by this. I want to make sure that, you know, you're not going to your next wedding and having one of these cards in your camera and then, you know, having to lose those files. So either, you know, you'll get the email tonight if you're signed up to our newsletter, but just shoot me an email at social@thepixelconnection.com and I can get you this exact link. But if you do a Google search for Sony SD card, what's it called, recall, you'll find the list of cards. And even though like these cards are shown here, there's specific cards that are affected, like a certain serial number that are affected. So definitely go on and look and make sure that yours is not affected. So I did have a couple messages that came in here. So regional experiences will matter more than destination. Big tent shows in the future. Hands-on time with the brand will be very important still, but less willingness to travel and now that so much can be done virtually. Exactly. For example, having the reps come out and test drive, you know, doing those like we've done, you know, those are kind of smaller form factor. And you actually get, to me, I think you get a little bit more value out of that when you can come to the store and it's just you. Having worked that Photo Plus trade show, like I never had a lot of time with customers because I had a line, you know, that was 5 deep. So I like the more localized, more regionalized stuff. And I do like what the companies have been doing with that virtual tech time as well. I own 4 of these in a wedding tomorrow. So I'm glad that you joined today. Thank you, Joe. I hope that goes well. I hope you can find some cards, or you have some backup cards to make sure that you're, you know, not affected. So I make most of my purchases based on online reviews and YouTube streamers' opinions versus seeing products at a show. Very good feedback. Used to go to many of the dental trade shows, always found them helpful. However, over the years, they've become smaller with difficulty getting manufacturers. Today, I would say that with webinars available on all topics, there really is no need for these huge conventions. The only are effective now. Oh, the ones that are only the ones that are affected are the ones that are very hands-on. I agree. And it looks like, David, you have one of those. If it has a star, it's good. That is correct. So that is one of the things that I read, but that wasn't across the board on all cards, I don't think. So that's why I didn't want to make a blanket statement, which I thought that was kind of weird. Again, this is me totally digressing. It's like, why did that star show up all of a sudden? So was this something they knew about a while ago? Like, I'm not conspiracy theory, but I just found it weird that the ones with the star were not affected. Like, was it a manufacturing change? It was just very interesting to me. Very, like I said, conspiracy theorist of me to know, like, how long ago did you know about this? There's stars on it, but that's not my cup of tea. This is not a show about conspiracies. There are many of those going around. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this, and let's go a little full screen here. So this is the new 100-400. This was just announced by Sigma, and honestly, they announced a ton of stuff. So we'll talk about this, and then we'll get over that. So this is the all new 100-400 that is for mirrorless cameras. So it's coming out. This is the EF mount edition, but there is an L mount edition as well, which to my knowledge is the longest lens for L mount cameras that is available on the market. So that was one of the things that, you know, our L mount shooters were asking us was, is there something longer? Like, and right now you would have to adapt things over. Now we are getting native control. We are getting native, you know, the autofocus, image stabilization, all that. It's now closer to that native lens. So the 100-400, it is a little bit smaller than the Sony version. It's much less expensive. Size-wise, it's a little bit, because you're still going to have that flange distance there. So you're still going to be a little bit further away. So it's not really it's not like a more compact lens, but it is nice to have the options both on on the L mount as well as the Sony E mount. So we'll be taking our test drive of that this weekend and kind of getting hands-on. If you actually go to our website, and you can check out from last week, we did the 28-200 from Sony. We did a really, really in-depth write-up and comparing it to other lenses. So we're going to do the same exact thing with this lens here. We're going to put it through its paces. But it just got announced earlier this week. I think actually yesterday is when it got announced. So is this a lens that you were looking for? If you're an L mount shooter or a Sony shooter, is this something that you were looking for or looking to add to your bag? So it looks like we did have, I would recommend the Lexar Gold cards over the Sony Tough. Never failed me in 10 years. Great tip. Great tip. Thank you, Logan. So moving on from that, we have these new, and I get super hesitant even like showing or doing like any advertising for these. First of all, I haven't really seen where you can get them in the US very easily, but they're these filters that go on over your sensor. And I saw these first at Photo Plus last year I tested it on the GH5, and basically it's this little thing that is cut out to fit right over, not like on your sensor, but there's this, if you look at your camera sensor, specifically like mirrorless sensor, you'll see where there's like the sensor sits below. There's this like, I don't even know what it's called, but there's like this piece of plastic that's over top of it. And that's where this kind of locks in there and sits in there. So the advantage to this is, let's say you're using an ultra wide angle lens. So like anything that's bulbous. So on Panasonic, for example, the 7-14, you know, that's not something that has screw in filters. So with this, you could put that filter over the sensor, and then your ND is happening, you know, right before it gets there. So instead of having to screw something on the front, this goes more towards the back. But to me, I'm a little hesitant with putting something that close to my sensor. Like I did test them. They worked okay. I mean, it's definitely an ND filter, but I'm a little hesitant with having to open my field or my camera in the field and then like dropping this little thing on that to see to get that ND. For me, I'd rather just have my square filters and put them on the outside. But I want to know from you guys, like, is this something that we should get in here at the Pixel Connection? Is this something that would be of interest to you guys? Because again, the fact that this just came out for the EOS R, and then, you know, going forward, you know, that was the piece of news here. But I want to know if it's something that we should carry. You know, is this something that people, you know, our customers are interested in having access to? I wanted to know also, do you feel hesitant of like putting this on your camera? That's really ultimately, like, to me, it kind of sketches me out, but I want to know your feedback too. Like, is this something that you would put on your camera? So let's jump into the education and tutorials block. So perfect time for backyard bird photography. This is one thing that we have seen an uptick in recently. A lot of people coming in, picking up the Tamron 150 to 600s and just really focused on birds. And, you know, we're starting to see, you know, obviously we're into the migration season already. So I put in here, this is a great article on just doing backyard birding. And it's from Skip Cohen. I don't know if you know Skip Cohen. He used to be the, I believe it was CEO of Hasselblad, but he runs a great blog over at the Skip Cohen University. If you just do a Google search for Skip Cohen University, you'll find it. But it's a great article, a great video on getting started with bird photography. So if that's something that you're interested in, you wanted to learn a little bit more about, I do have a link to that article. So let's see, we did have some feedback for the last one. No chance I trust myself to put something on my sensor. Come on, man, live a little. It's just a C200. You'll be fine. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not, and that's why, like the C200, you have the built-in ND, so you know why this wouldn't be for that. But other ones like the, you know, the A6000 or A6100, A64, any of the A6000s, you know, to be able to just drop that in there, I could see a level of convenience for that guy. So moving on from the bird photography, this is something that came up. Actually, a couple was testing a lens, and they took a photo and they were like, why is this purple showing up on the, you know, on the actual lens? So what is that? So that's why I threw this in there, because I actually found an article for them that is explaining what, you know, the fringing is and what chromatic aberration is and all that stuff. So I explained that to them, but I thought it might be of interest to you guys as well on an easy way to get rid of that in Lightroom. So by the way, Lightroom came out with a bunch of updates this week. That should have been a news story. I'm just now thinking about it. But almost all the apps have some type of updates. Premiere, which was interesting, Premiere actually updated for the R5. So it looks like Premiere is going to be ready for day one for that new Canon R5, which I am super, super excited about. I can't wait to get my hands on that guy. But I did want to share with you that this article, which will take you through, it's actually a video from Scott Kelby's site, where it'll take you through how to get rid of that. So if you've ever noticed that on your photos and you want to get rid of that purple fringing or that green fringing, super easy article on how to do that. So moving right along, I wanted to let you know that Sigma is still doing their Sigma Shot at Home contest. So this is a great way for you to earn a little bit of extra money. Just go over to their website, and which is sigmaphoto.com, and just search for that Sigma Shot at Home banner, and you'll be able to enter to win their contest. And if you're looking for more education, we do put all of these up on our YouTube channel. So all of the live streams that we've ever done, with the exception of one that got pulled down for copyright, which is actually on Facebook. It was Bobby Lane's, where she talked about Hollywood lighting, but they're all on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/the Connection, you'll see a link to all of our live streams. So if you ever want to go back and watch anything, or you're not here at noon, you can definitely go and check those out. So let's talk about the rumors. This is the fun part. So I saw this on 4/3 Rumors. So Panasonic will soon announce the new G100. So this is super exciting for me, because this is a camera I don't know anything about. I've been away from Panasonic now, where all of my knowledge has been, you know, up to this point. Like, this is new. This is 100% news to me, even working there, you know, over the last 2 years. So if this does come true, that'll be awesome. So speculation is always fun, like what it's going to be. This is a picture of a G95. So the G95 came out last year, which has, you know, vlog and really great video, and it's the successor to the G85. So it's almost like a mini G9. So it'll be interesting what the G100 is, if it actually comes out. What could Panasonic do, or let's do it this way. What does Panasonic have to do in order for this to be a compelling buy? So being that it's in the G series, it's not GH100, it's probably going to be more towards like a G95 replacement, or the fact that it's 3 numbers is also new too. So the only other one that I know of would be like the GX850. It has the 3-number designation. So is it something that's in that form factor? So this could be something all brand new from Panasonic too, because they're using this kind of 3-number nomenclature. So it'll be interesting to see what it is. There was a couple other news sources that came out. They said it was going to be vlogger focused, but this article didn't say very much. But as I was looking like right before the show for a couple links, it looks like since I built this presentation, even more leaks have come out about it. So it'll be interesting to see what Panasonic does. I love that, you know, manufacturers aren't just stopping because of COVID-19. We're still seeing releases, everything from, you know, new lenses. Like, we just back to back, week by week, we've had 2 brand new lenses for the Sony side, and now, you know, one that's also for the L mount. So you know, it seems like manufacturing is picking back up, shipping is starting to pick back up. So again, if it feels like we're getting just one more step closer to kind of whatever that new sense of normal is. So this is cool too. We got new rumored specs about the R6. So it looks like the R6 is going to be a mirrorless, like similar to the 6D or the 6D Mark II or the 6D line, if you will. But look at these specs, guys. So we're going to get oversampled 5K video. We're going to get 4K, 60, full HD, 120. We're getting Canon log, 10-bit. We're getting the same autofocus system as the R5. The big difference here is we're getting dual card slots. So, and they're both UHS-2, so both super fast card slots. So the only thing that's not, that they're, it looks like the only thing that they're not holding out for, they're holding on to for that R5 is things like the raw video. And I think the frames per second and the size of the actual sensor is just a little bit bigger or faster, but still a 20 megapixel, 12 frame per second video beast with amazing autofocus, the same viewfinder as the R5, which is rumored at, I think 5 million, yeah, 5 million dots. So super high res. Guys, I think this is going to be the camera to watch in 2020. I think Canon is the company to keep your eye on. We've been reporting on it. They've been in the news over the last, 3 months, and we're seeing a long line of lenses that are to be announced. We're seeing now, pardon my French, kick-ass camera specs that are getting ready to be, come out. Now, there is still some question about price. So that's one of the things that we talked about a couple weeks ago, where this really expensive price was leaked, but then it was kind of pulled back. So we'll see what pricing is. But this one, the R6, is rumored to be under $2,500. So in the mirrorless space with these specs, under $2,500 with some amazing optics that are already out. I'm getting pretty excited about the I'm getting really excited about the new Canon stuff that's coming out. So a couple things that came in. Mike Vrobel says Panasonic G100 fixed the 4K crop. So I want to say the I don't remember. It's been a minute since I've been behind the G95, but I think that one was full sensor readout. Don't quote me. I'll double check on that because Panasonic was pretty good about doing the full sensor width. So if they can do that on the G100, if it is small and compact, like some of the other news articles are saying that it is, that would be awesome. So I wonder if there is autofocus in 120. So yeah, being that this does have full HD at 120 frames per second, having that autofocus would be amazing. So that way you're not trying to have to pull focus. That would be great. The Canon Joey says the Canon R glass is just wow. People switching from the GFX for it. I know, and a friend of mine just picked up the 28 to 70, which is just, I mean, it's a big lens, but absolutely beautiful. And they're getting the higher res too. So that's where you're now past. I feel like the new cameras are getting past that, between 20 and 25 marker, and now we're seeing the higher frames per second, higher megapixels. So again, now you're pairing that with that amazing RF glass, and I haven't heard a bad thing about any of the RF glass yet from customers. It's not glass that gets traded in really ever. So again, Canon is known for their glass. I mean, at the end of the day, they have amazing sharp optics. So the fact that now we're getting the horsepower behind those optics is awesome to see in the industry. So this brings me to Pixel Photo Fest. So there was a little bit of a change in plans. So I'm going to go over this. So let me go full screen here. I want to talk directly to you guys. So Pixel Photo Fest, we announced this week that on Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, we are switching the format up, and we had to wait to hear back from the new venue and all of our speakers, because if I don't have all the information to you guys, then there's just going to be a lot of uncertainty and doubt and what the hell is going on. So we actually haven't really had that at all. It's been a very welcome response to kind of what our plans are going forward. So first and foremost, if you buy a ticket to this year's Pixel Photo Fest, which is a hybrid virtual and in-person event, you get to go to that and next year's Pixel Photo Fest. We've rolled everybody's tickets over to next year's event, but you also have access to this year's. So we wanted to make sure that we're adding in the value, especially if you did the early bird pricing. We want to make sure that we are still providing you education and time to shoot. So the day of, what to expect, it is one day. It is August 15th, and we're going to start live streaming in the morning. Right now, we have 2 rooms that are going to be going at once. With the speakers that we still have to announce, we're probably going to add a 3rd room. So 3 rooms of presenters plus a virtual trade show where you can jump in and ask questions with all the tech reps. It'll just all be done virtually. So that's going to go until 5 o'clock. And like I said, there are still speakers. I'm still announcing speakers. There's still more to come. So the conference is even going to get better. We didn't just give up. We're not just throwing in the towel. We're not just pushing off till next year and say, hey, we'll worry about it. We're still wanting to give you guys an awesome event this year. So at 5 o'clock, we're going to have a hands-on photographing experience where we're down in the vaults at the 9 in downtown Cleveland. So if you've never heard of the vault, you haven't seen the vault, it's a really high-end hotel. It's a set of old bank vaults that have just been redone, and they are lavish, they are awesome, they are decorated, and we're having James Schmelzer come into town to do Hollywood lighting. So it's going to be period correct to that kind of Great Gatsby, that early Hollywood, that Prohibition feel. That's what that shoot's going to be all about. And just because that we're doing that talk down there, it's big enough where if you just want to photograph the models in that area, you're more than welcome to. So we're still doing a shooting experience. And then at 7 o'clock, if you want to stay in the vault till 9, you can. But at 7 o'clock, we're going up to the rooftop in order to have just kind of a rooftop hangout. The models will be there to photograph as well. But again, just a chill networking event for everybody. So, and again, if you're not comfortable doing that, that's totally fine. Like, stay home, do the virtual, and then anybody that signs up for their ticket, and we're doing it till the end of the month. So if anybody gets their ticket this year, you'll have access to download all of the sessions as well. So that way you're not like bouncing between them and thinking you're going to miss something. You'll have digital downloads available as well. And now that is based on the presenter. If the presenter is like, no, you can't put my content, we have to abide by them. They're helping us out. They're still doing this. But as many of the presentations as we can will be available for you to download. So if you haven't got your ticket yet, for $99, you have access to this year's. It's virtual, and next year's. So I wanted to make sure that you guys all knew about that. And this is the first time I've had a live since we announced it. So all of our speakers, we're still, figuring out a couple of them, but the speakers that we have announced should still be, all but one right now is canceled, and we're finding a replacement for that. So more to come on that, I promise. But it's still going to be a kick-ass event, guys. We've actually had people ask for doing photo walks. So we are in the process of possibly even adding those on as well. So again, we're not just giving up on you. We're going to have an awesome event. So speaking of an awesome event, we have been working with Fuji to offer free rentals. Yes, FREE. Free. If it's free, it's for me. So if you want to rent out some of the top, the brand new stuff from Fuji, there is no cost, guys. Pick it up for the weekend. Even I'm taking advantage of this with the X100V. Last weekend, I did the X Pro 3. Just come rent the gear and head out and play. And they're also doing tech time. So if you have questions about Fuji and you book a slot, you'll actually get additional savings if you decide to, if you do decide to purchase anything. So again, not only do we have awesome sales going on with Fuji right now, but additional savings and free rentals going on. So definitely take advantage of that. So how do you get the slides from today? So the easiest way to get the slides from today is by going to our website, and on the bottom, you'll see where you can sign up for the newsletter. And then at 6 o'clock every Friday, we send out a little, just email. Again, no sales, none of that crap. This is just sending out the news from the day, and then you'll be able to click on all of those links. So I'm going to go through and look at some of our comments. Let's see what came in here, because I did miss one of them. Hello and welcome, Jim Summers. I was wondering where you were. I was going to have to give you a call, and I was worried about you. I was worried sick. So we had a question that came up here. EOS R doesn't have IBIS, so it's fixed in place. Not as big of a deal, but on sensor that has IBIS, I wouldn't try it. EOS R doesn't have IBIS. So yeah, I'm hoping that the new ones, I'm pretty sure they're rumored to have in-body image stabilization. I think that's what you were referencing. But, again, I think that Canon, once they have kind of caught up with the rest of the world in their mirrorless line, the EOS R is a great camera. Don't get me wrong. Love it, especially after that last autofocus update. Does a great job. But I think it's time that they jump in with the IBIS, the dual slots. Give pros Pro tools to do their jobs. So Canon R glass, yep. So thank you for doing the best you can with Pixel Photo Fest under difficult circumstances. Again, we've been working on it now. We've been pushing to try to keep everything as it was, but it got to the point where, you know, Cleveland State was like, you know, we're canceling events, so we had to look at alternate options. And honestly, the 9 has been great to work with, and the ability to shoot in that space is just amazing. And I can't speak highly enough about it. That whole hotel is just super, super trendy, super, super cool. If I pay shipping, can you ship for the Fuji rentals? Give us a call, man. We're always happy to work with you. Whatever we need to do to make that happen, we will do our absolute best. But yeah, just let us know. Give us a call at the store. So how long does the free Fuji rental last? So it's a free 3-day rental. So pick it up on, you know, Friday, drop it back off Monday, or if you want to run it during the week as well. And there's several, like we're several deep in certain things like X-T3s, X100s, X Pro 3s, certain lenses. But we've actually sweetened this deal with our own rental stuff. At first, Fuji was like, hey, just rent this stuff out. And we're like, no, we want to get behind this too. So we've actually added all of our Fuji stuff that we normally have in rental is also in there. So there's a lot of things to choose from. I was talking about the filter. Oh, yeah. I was talking about the filter for the sensor you showed. The photo was an EOS R. Yeah, so I'm sorry I misunderstand. EOS R doesn't have it, so it's fixed in place. Not a big of a deal on a sensor that has IBIS. I wouldn't try it. Okay, sorry. I thought you were talking about the EOS R specs. So yeah, so I tried it on the IBIS with the GH5. And like I was saying, there's this plastic thing that stays above the sensor. So your sensor is moving here, and there was a little bit of clearance on it, but I definitely totally understand what you mean. Like that sensor is moving around. It wasn't meant to be. Like it wasn't designed like that. So it's probably not the best to use a filter like that. Cool. So that was all the questions that we have. If you guys need absolutely anything from us, you can see our contact information right there. Please feel free to reach out. If there's anything that we can do, we're more than happy to help. Again, thank you guys for joining. This is like the highlight of my week where I get to talk about the news and I guess pontificate or just like share my thoughts on the industry as it is. But if you guys need absolutely anything or there's something you need us to cover, please don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you have an awesome weekend. We'll see you later.